everybody. Welcome back to Midas Letter Raw for this Monday, March the 4th. Edward?
Monday, March the 4th.
My co-host is
Monday,
here.
March the 4th.
4th of March is...
When's the Ides of March? Just out of curiosity.
The Ides of March are throughout the month of March. Every day is an Ide. What's your point, Ed?
I'd like to know. What Ides of March is the 15th, right?
What are Ides? Do you know what Ides are? What is an Ide? Define Ide. Audience, feel free to define Ide. The winner gets 3 tons of gold.
I know what a sulfite is.
I know what an oxide
is.
You know what an oxide is? You would know an oxide from a manhole cover.
From a sulfite. I wouldn't know an oxide from a sulfite.
Anyways, we have a really great show today. I just don't know what it's going to be because these are not the pages that I'm looking for. So I'm just going to guess or make shit up. Harry Leishman is going to be here. Former famous porn star and fluffer from, you know, numerous big important sets. Actually, here we go.
What?
News nurse Ricky Gerwitz is going to read the news at 3:05. Marc-Antoine Audette is here from Sama Resources. Rob Cheney from C21 Investments joins us at 3:30. And as usual, post your questions in the box in the chat room. Robert Galarza will be here towards the end of the show from BLOCKStrain Technology. What's he only get a 3-minute shot? Anyways, 4:10, Ed and I will be all over the market close. 4 o'clock, Bruce Counts is here from Lithoquest Diamonds. He's going to tell us about a diamond exploration project in Western Australia that is having some success. But first,
there's bad action on the S&P today.
Bad action?
Yeah.
Can we get a chart up?
Yeah, we can get a chart up.
Let's have a look at your chart, Ed. Is it depressing?
No, well, you know what? It opened very strong and then reversed, and now it's negative. And I say this 2,800 level is going to be problematic.
Oh, really?
Well, that's what I say. I mean, I could be wrong.
Look at that.
Look at this, 2784, down 20 points. Okay, but let me just put up a 1 month chart here.
Sure.
And so look at this action.
Yeah.
See that?
Yeah. No. What?
What?
What? Yeah. What are you talking about? I see up. I see down.
I'm looking at that right there.
Oh.
Right there. Well, I got to clean that up now.
Yeah. Fuck that up, didn't you?
Yeah. This area right in here.
Okay. Try to draw a proper circle. Oh.
Those red candles. See, we were above the band. We came down. Now we're going to have a little rally. I wouldn't be surprised if it just sort of stays. But I've pointed this out before. The trend here is slowly veering to the right. So it's losing energy. Now it can keep going. But until I see it keep going, I'm not going to say it's going to keep going because we've had an amazing rally in the last 6 weeks, 7 weeks.
Yeah.
One of the most epic rallies we've ever had, actually. So there. That's what is keeping me up today.
Keeping you up to date or keeping you up today?
Well, either one. Either one. Take your pick. Keeping me up today.
Okay.
What do you think?
And I'm looking right now at all of the 4 Midas Letter cannabis indexes.
And how are they performing?
Well, the Midas Letter Large Cap Index, which is all publicly traded companies over $500 million who are operating as Canadian entities, it's down 1.52%.
Small.
Down 160 points. It's down a little. The Midas Letter Small Cap Index, which is all the companies between 100 and 500 million, is down 0.87% or 8.94 points. But on the other side of the equation, the Midas Letter Venture Index, which is all the companies on the TSX Venture, and the Midas Letter CSE Index, all the companies on the CSE, are up. Midas Letter Venture Index is up 1.02% at this hour, and the CSE is the top performing index of the day, up 2.2%. And if you're wondering, I know you're wondering, Ed, what is the best performer on the CSE? It's C21 Investments, symbol CXXI, and Rob Cheney from C21 is going to join us here shortly, and he's going to tell us why his stock is a rippin'. Did you know Bruce McDonald from the Royal Bank is on his board of directors? Yeah, he's got a board of directors. Like he named them off in this interview, and it's just you're gonna blow your stack. It's just,
so that's CXXI, correct?
CXXI.
You know when they
everybody
were on,
paid
when
$1 for
on,
their shares.
We were sitting here, we were talking. Ben was on. You were away as usual, partying somewhere in some jurisdiction. And we said that this was the cheapest stock on the board based on revenue to price.
Right.
Based on their revenues, You could argue this thing could be, it was $1.05. That day it closed at $1.20, and now it's, what is it, $1.65?
$1.90.
What?
$1.90. No, I know. You know why it's a $1.90?
How about buck naked?
Naked? How about Buck Rogers in the 21st century?
Smokes. This is quite a story that's developing here.
Well, just wait till you hear him on this interview. You're gonna, your ears are gonna.
I hope he recalls that when we were talking about it, we gave it that initial shove.
Anyways, news nurse Ricky Gerwitz with the news.
Here are the headlines moving markets today. Aurora Cannabis has completed the acquisition of all the issued and outstanding shares of privately held Whistler Medical Marijuana Corporation in an all-share transaction worth approximately $175 million. Whistler operates 2 indoor licensed production facilities and are anticipated to have a combined production capacity of over 5,000 kilograms per year. Aphria Inc. announced that Health Canada has granted the company its license amendment, permitting Aphria to commence production in an additional 800,000 square feet of facilities at its Aphria 1 location. This expanded production news is part of the company's completed Part 4 and Part 5 expansions. Annual cannabis production capacity at Aphria 1 will increase to 110,000 kilograms and 115,000 kilograms for all licensed facilities. Zenabis Global Inc. has been approved to cultivate and grow cannabis at its facility in Stellarton, Nova Scotia, becoming the 3rd Zenabis facility in Canada licensed to grow cannabis. The license brings their design capacity to 18,500 kilograms of dried cannabis per year. Zenabis has also announced that it has entered into a letter of engagement with 8 Capital, under which 8 Capital has agreed to purchase 15,000 unsecured convertible debentures on a bought deal private placement basis, pursuant to applicable security laws exemptions at a price of $1,000 per initial debenture for gross proceeds of $15 million. 8 Capital has agreed to offer for sale an additional 60,000 convertible debentures at the issue price, for additional gross proceeds of $60 million. The NHL Alumni Association, Nika Health Canada, and Canopy Growth Corporation have announced a clinical research partnership to investigate the efficacy of cannabinoids as a treatment for post-concussion neurological diseases in former NHL players. A substantial number of these high-performing former professional athletes have developed impairments as a result of past concussions, ranging from depression, post-traumatic stress disorders, and progressive dementia. This study will look at the medicinal value of cannabis when combined with other proven treatments amongst this highly afflicted group of elite athletes. Medexus Pharmaceuticals Inc. has entered into a licensing agreement with Photomatic GmbH and Company. The agreement gives Medexus exclusive rights to market and distribute Gleolan in Canada, which assists neurosurgeons to remove malignant brain tumors. Ianthus Capital Holdings Inc. announced the grand opening of its 3rd Florida dispensary located in the city of Lake Worth. CanTrust Holdings Inc. announced that it has filed and received a receipt for a preliminary short-form base shelf prospectus with the Securities Commission in each of the provinces of Canada except Quebec. The company has also filed a corresponding shelf registration statement on Form F-10 with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission under the U.S.-Canada Multi-Jurisdictional Disclosure System. This will allow the company to offer up to $700 million of debt securities, warrants, subscription receipts, units, or common shares during the 25-month period that the shelf prospectus is effective. And Planet 13 Holdings Inc. has begun construction of a 14,000 square foot production facility in Las Vegas. And that's your news for today.
Well, so there you have it, Ed. Did you catch the news? Did you read any of that? What are you doing? You calling your mother?
No.
Are you looking at an EKG chart of your last checkup?
No.
How's the ticker anyways?
It's pretty good, actually.
You still smoking like dope like crits going out of style?
No, not as much.
No?
Not as much.
Boozing it up?
Yeah, once it became legal, I thought,
Were you down at the PDAC today?
No.
Yesterday?
Yes.
And? How'd it look? Busy? Packed? Full?
Looks like all the other ones.
Full.
Except this one was a little more recent.
Okay, so how was the mood? Was the mood buoyant?
I'd say the mood was mixed.
Mixed mood.
Mixed mood.
So miserable sons of bitches and happy-go-lucky motherfuckers. More or less. You had a little more vodka in there, Ed?
Ooh.
So, what was the mood? Like, was it positive? Was it negative?
You know what? I'll tell you, the other thing that's happened here is that all the commodities have been taking it on the chin in the last few days. Gold's down 30, 40 bucks an ounce.
It's the PDAC effect. Every year.
You know what?
Even the AMX is off 90 down to 92 cents.
90.
90?
Yeah, 89.
89?
It's a buy. It's a buy.
It's a buy? I think it's a sell.
Well,
looks like a lot of people agree with me, too.
Well, when it looked like a buy,
full disclosure, I own about, I don't know, I own a small dump truck load of shares, but I'm not selling. Full disclosure. Even though the price is coming up.
Can I tell you I spent an hour with the Geo yesterday?
You did?
Yeah.
Really?
And he's been around the track.
Yeah.
And he discovered this big deposit in Peru. Soledad, is it?
Soledad.
Yeah, he discovered that.
Up in north. Up in the north.
And he basically said the pictures of the cores that are coming back, that are still to be tested, which will come out at the end of this week, everything's looking just the same as before.
Really? So the deposit's getting bigger?
Yes. Substantially.
Wow. Substantially?
Yeah, and they're cashed up. They got lots of drill. They got to bring another rig on.
So this is basically a buying opportunity.
It is a buying opportunity, yeah.
Well, are you going to buy any?
Yep.
You are?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
And you got a telephone call incoming there. Maybe you want to get Pat on the show?
Hey, Pat.
Excuse me, I'm doing a show right now.
You're on the show, Pat. You're on the show, but you won't be on for very long.
Hey, Pat, how you doing?
This is James West here.
Hey, Patty, what's going on?
I'm going to call you back.
Anyways, we're doing a show, Patty. We'll call you later. So, Ed, have we acknowledged our audience yet today in any meaningful way?
I think we should.
I think we should, too. I'm going to go to YouTube right now and see
I bumped into a guy last night, two people yesterday.
Yeah.
And they...
Oh, did you go to that party at Jimmy Doyle's at the PJ O'Brien's?
Boy, oh boy, the Jack Daniels was flying.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Jack Daniels and...
what time did you stay till?
I think about 12:30.
12:30?
Yeah, there's not as many people at 12:30 than there was at, say, 9.
Oh, we stayed up till 3:30, 3:34 in the morning drinking red wine.
With who?
Bobby Miller. The one and only, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I want to acknowledge some of our regular viewers here today. Javanti Music, good to see you as per usual. William Lay, hello, hello. There's a lot of new people here. Troy Smith, how you doing, Troy? Who else we got here? Norm Longstaff, how you doing? Sergio Bowers, hello and welcome, thank you. Shevet Ketostatic Bafanifi is here. Hello, Shevet. Always great to see you. Thanks for watching. We love you because your comments are just so freaking witty. I love them. Faye Smith is here. The Ides of March is March 15th, according to Faye Smith. Faye, thank you for that contribution.
Yeah.
Now, what is an Ide? Faye, tell us, what is an Ide?
Sulfide.
And how do you...
Oxide.
Suicide. Well, hey, no, Ed, just... It's all good. It's okay.
Okay,
it's all good.
I'm not going to...
Smile. That's it. Always look on the sunny side of life.
Right.
We have 214 people watching right now on YouTube, 400 on Twitter. Hello, everybody, and thank you for watching.
Keep watching. We love it when you watch.
We love it when you watch. And at 3:15, which is in 2 minutes, there is a guest coming on. But I don't have my schedule, so I can't tell you who it's going to be. So you're just going to have to wait 2 more minutes to see. In the meantime, Ed, we're going to take a look at some of the action on the indexes and see if we can't figure out what the hell is going on in the world of cannabis today. As we said, the 2 big indexes are up, the 2 smaller ones, the 2 big ones are down, the 2 smaller ones are up. CXXI leads, C21 Investments leads the action on the CSC. It's up 17.28% to $1.90 at this point. Everybody knows that Rob's coming on the show today, so they're buying the snot out of that stock. Green Growth Brands is up 6 cents at this hour at 1.24% at $4.90, and TerraSyn Corp just under $8 at $7.99, up 13 cents or 1.65%. Thank you, Ricky. Now, coming up, the CEO of Sama Resources joins us in studio. Oh, that's coming up in studio. And then, of course, Rob Cheney from C21 is going to field a bunch of my impertinent questions and give rather satisfactory responses.
Okay.
Robert Glarza will be here. He's the CEO of BLOCKStrain at 4:10. got this, we're changing things around a little bit. And Bruce Counts is here from, he's the CEO of Lithoquest Diamonds at 345. I would say that somebody's printer needs to have their cartridges updated, because this is fading fast. Fading fast. Okay, now on the off chance that I have communications working with God, can you tell me, is the guest for 315 here yet? All right, are we rolling a little pre-roll? Make it so.
Sama Resources Inc. is a Canadian-based mineral exploration and development company with projects in West Africa. The company is focused on exploring the Sama-Pleu nickel-copper project in Ivory Coast. In October 2017, Sama announced that it has entered into a binding term sheet to form a strategic partnership with HPX TechCo Inc., a private mineral exploration company. Sama Resources Inc. is listed on the TSX Venture and trades under the ticker symbol SME.
Oh, it's a mining thing. This is our new
core here.
Okay, good.
This is nickel and copper, and this is the massive sulfide.
Okay, so we're live.
Oh.
Mark, Ed Molesky, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
And Sama Resources, ticker symbol SME. And I don't know much about your company, but I'm going to learn. I see massive sulfides, nickel, copper, palladium, platinum. Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so this is, and where is the property?
Well, the property is in West Africa, in Ivory Coast.
Okay.
This is a country that usually people doesn't know about base metal as well.
Yes.
It's mostly known for the gold.
Yes.
But since I've been in Côte d'Ivoire since the 90s, mid-90s, and I was a project manager for Falconbridge at that time.
Yeah, Ivory Coast, if I'm not mistaken, usually gets it's a country that isn't looked upon favorably, is it?
Absolutely. It's a very good country for mining and investment.
Yeah.
There's 4 gold mines already running over there.
Okay.
And there's a plan for several more. And there's also the potential for the base metal, the polymetallic resources.
Right.
The one that we just discussed, nickel, copper, cobalt, palladium, rhodium, gold, silver, and platinum. So these are the new discoveries that we made in 2010.
Yeah.
And I don't know if your auditor can see it, but we have core on the table there.
Yes.
That shows the massive sulfides up to 4 or 5%
Yeah,
nickel.
can I flip this up,
copper.
Connor? Can we put this up like this and
Do you see it?
Okay, there. Yeah, that'll work.
So you see, this is a beautiful material.
And what is this in here? Is this?
That's the copper zone. That's a copper-rich material.
Okay.
You can see it from its yellowish color.
Very rich.
Very rich. And this is the nickel zone, which is 100% sulfur mineralization. This is magmatic material that came from the mantle and that was deposited there in a layered complex about 2 billion years ago. And now we have this kind of mineralization scattered over 60 kilometers strike length in western side of Côte d'Ivoire.
Okay.
So it's a very good area for
Right.
the
And when was this discovered?
This was discovered in 2010.
In 2010, so roughly
That's
9
right.
years ago.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that was a small little showing at that time, which we called Sama-Pleu, which is the reason why we call Sama Resources. It's a small little village called Sama-Pleu.
Okay.
That was the place for the original discovery. But since then, we discovered more zones scattered over a fairly large area. And one of the new zones called Yepleu, it's located 20 kilometers away from this one. And this is the first occurrence of nickel copper sulfides at surface in West Africa. You go there on the
West
mountain,
Africa.
In West Africa. You go there on the top of the mountain. We're at the 1,100 meter elevation.
Right.
And then this is where you can see the mineralization right at surface. Not even altered or weathered, right at surface.
Well, I see we have a...
That's right.
Is this where you...
This is the area at Yepleu, we call Yepleu. This is 20 kilometers away from that Sama-Pleu mineralization on the table.
And you're pulling that truck because you don't want to get stuck.
Well, we were in the rain season. We wanted to go right on top because it's a fairly rugged area there.
Wow.
And what you saw on the video was a new technology that we use right now for, it's a geophysical survey, and the equipment itself is called Typhoon. That's the name of the equipment. And this Typhoon system allows us to see down the cross to about 1,500 meters, which it's not
really?
used
Is that the device there? No.
This is the device on that truck. And unfortunately, you don't see it on the video inside the truck.
Okay.
What I have in my hands there, it's a XRF analyzer.
I'm familiar with that one. Yeah.
So this is where we have this mineralization in the western side of Côte d'Ivoire, scattered over 20. Well, this is 20 kilometers between the two deposits, but we have an example of it for a larger area.
So tell me, how many shares in your company?
It's 196 million shares outstanding at the moment.
And what's the current price? Roughly?
It's very between 27 and 30 cents.
So your market capitalization is
55 to 60 million, yes.
Wow, that's a good amount. You're sitting on how's your treasury? You got lots of cash?
We have $4 million in the cash right now, and we just last year signed a deal with HPX.
Yes.
HPX is a group run by Mr. Robert Friedland.
Yes.
He likes the area where we are. He made 8-month due diligence on what we discovered, and he's injecting up to $30 million in summer. So we received the first $5 million.
Okay.
And now we are in the execution path in order to find the sources of these massive sulfide with that money.
So you've got a good sponsor in Robert Friedland.
I think we have an excellent sponsor.
Yes, he's legendary.
Absolutely.
Now I see you started drilling again back in January.
That's correct. And we are in it right now.
Are you drilling now?
Absolutely. And we just made we press released that at the end of January. We intersected a very nice zone that was discovered using the Typhoon system that I was just showing on the video.
Okay.
And this zone, we're going to follow up on it because it's a proof of the system that we are, the geological system that we are promoting here. And we intersected 37 meters of mineralization and very good nickel, copper, and palladium, platinum.
Do you always get those same metals when you find
Yes, the association, the polymetallic aspect of the mineralization is the same regardless where we are in the system. So at the beginning of the system, let's say at kilometer 0 here and the kilometer 20 or 25 where we have it at surface, we have always the same ratio mineralization and the component.
So I see you're drilling at 6,000 meters in this program.
That's the goal. That's the goal, is to do about 6,000 meters.
And so are you drilling like a couple hundred meters a week? Does that sound right?
Oh yes, we probably drilled about 400 meters a week.
Okay.
And these are the deep holes, because what we are looking for, it's the source of this massive sulfide that we see at surface.
Yes.
But where it is at depth. And the Typhoon system gave us the indication that we have anomaly at 900 meters, 1,000 meters from surface.
Okay.
So this is why we are doing a 6,000 meter drilling program that might be just 4 or 5 holes, because we're going to chase the source of these massive sulfides at depth.
Now, do you have any, I understand Friedland's a major shareholder.
That's correct.
Are there any other bigger institutions that are? Because it sounds like you got a pretty decent market cap.
Well, we have a Minmetal China.
Okay.
It's about 10% on summer. They came in with us in 2012 and 2013.
Okay.
And when they came in, actually I was a little bit rough with them, I guess, because I asked them for a double of the share price to come in, and they said yes. So for twice we had Minmetal China came in summer at 100% premium to the market, and I was very pleased with that, obviously. So $4 or $5 million at that time they injected in the company. But they are fantastic shareholders because they have also give us access to the technical people,
right?
Geophysical team and geophysical interpretation of the survey that we were doing. So extremely good shareholder as an institution. So Minmetal China, HPX, with backed by Mr. Friedland, and at some point we had the World Bank with us for about 5 years.
And this core box, I just want to get this straight. This was from the drilling back in 2010?
This is the drilling from last year at Samaplu, the main deposit where we have already a resource.
This is quite rich. This is quite rich.
This is very rich. This is the richest as you can get it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, yes. I know there was just a recent discovery that was announced on Friday. It was nickel, but it was like 0.26 nickel. There was some cobalt and platinum and palladium, but over big widths, but very not in this category.
That's right. We do have also what we call disseminated sulfides.
Yes.
To compare to massive sulfides.
Yes.
This is 100% sulfide. Disseminated sulfide will be anything between 5 to 10% sulfides, and that will give something like 0.2% nickel, 0.2% copper, or something like that. We also have that at surface.
Yeah. So why is palladium so expensive now? Why is palladium much more expensive than platinum?
I think there's been a shortage of palladium in the market, and it is used in the catalyzer for the vehicles.
And I think platinum is used for diesel. That's what I've been told, and diesel is not so popular right now. So
that's correct.
Okay, so you've got cash, you've got sponsorship. You've got targets.
Absolutely. And we are in the execution phase.
Okay.
The target here is to find where are these reservoirs of massive sulfides that we see near surface. What we have at surface is small lens here and there, but obviously it needs to come from somewhere. It doesn't come from Mars, obviously. It has to come from the center. And that's what we are looking at.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, we're going to leave it there.
Thank you very much.
And I really appreciate you coming on. So once again, we got Sama Resources, ticker symbol SME, and Mr. Marc-Antoine Odette.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Make sure you never miss a show by subscribing to our YouTube channel and clicking on the little notifications bell. If you're interested in getting monthly actionable investment ideas in the cannabis space to your inbox, subscribe to the newsletter at MidasLetter.com. Hey, so coming up in the cannabis space, CV Sciences is going to release its Q4 financials on March the 12th, and there will be a conference call after that on the 12th at 4:30 p.m. Acreage Holdings is putting out Q4 results on the 12th as well. Tilray is putting out its Q4 financials on the 18th of March, and that will be followed by a conference call on the same day at 5 p.m. And then Kronos Group's Q4 financials will be out on the 26th of March with a conference call to follow. That's going to be at 8:30 a.m., which means obviously Kronos is going to release their financials very early in the day on the 26th. So all stuff that we want to be watching. Ed,
I got the HMMJ up.
Okay.
I'm looking at that chart, and I got to tell you, I see something here I don't like.
Uh-oh. Tell me.
Okay, well, we've got the potential here for a bit of a double top. Right there is a top. We've had a major correction, and now a grind higher. And here, some red candles here, sort of coinciding with that wick area.
Okay.
Anyway, look, it's still early.
Yes.
A lot of people seem to think we got lots of horsepower in this market, and it's going to, thrust forward. But it seems to me it's losing steam. And we're seeing it here on the HMMJ, which is the Horizons ETF.
Okay, so do you think how much of that do you think is related to what's going on in the S&P?
Well, I got to believe that, where there's froth, that there's no longer froth.
Where there's foam, there's pee?
Yeah.
Okay, toilet humor.
I think there's a correlation.
Yeah. A correlation between the S&P and the performance of the sector generally in the cannabis stocks?
I think so.
Okay, so now we've had the benefit of a few more months before we last had this conversation. Does this mean that an improving cannabis market in terms of rising valuations is contingent upon a baseline of positivity in the S&P 500?
You know what? This is art, right? This isn't always
Art?
one and one is equal to two.
No.
There's a lot of art here. There's a lot of poetic license, if you will. I would suggest that there is a correlation. Maybe it's not exact, but if the market starts to lose its power here, and we saw when the S&P was getting hammered in December, I don't think the cannabis stocks were doing so well either, were they?
No.
So, I think so, a little bit, sure.
Yeah, okay, but we're also typically going to see more weakness as May approaches. But except from companies like C21 Investments. Now
But that thing is so inexpensive relative to the pack. I mean, where has this thing been hiding?
Well, you know that it was financed. The first shares issued in that company were issued at $1, and all of the founders put in their own money. Over half the stock is owned by insiders who paid $1 a share or more. And it's now $1.90. So do you think, and they're on a run rate for Q next revenue at least $32 million. 50 cents a share. That's only got 60 some odd million shares out. 50 cents a share this thing is cranking. So, and this is what, when you look at their board of directors, when they got guys from the Royal Bank on the board of directors, this is a company that is a little bit different. It's kind of like, how Green Growth Brands has this big sort of aura of expectation around it because it's got Peter Horvath from, American Eagle and all these big brands and Victoria's Secret. It's kind of like you look at C21 and you go, well, this has like that kind of rock star management team.
Right.
And it's just, it's incredible.
That's incredible.
It's incredible. Now, where did the schedule go, Ed? I thought they left you in charge of the schedule.
Well, I think that Mark Odette guy took it.
All right, so we're going to have a conversation with Rob Cheney from C21 next, but first this.
C21 Investments, Inc. is a vertically integrated cannabis company that cultivates, processes, and distributes cannabis and hemp-derived consumer products in the United States. With newly acquired operations in Oregon, C21's strategy is to acquire existing cannabis operations with management teams in place. The company's focus is to expand where it can wholly own indoor or outdoor cultivation operations, processing and extraction facilities, bakeries, branded products, and retail dispensaries with a large distribution network. C21 Investments, Inc. is headquartered in Vancouver and trades on the CSC under the ticker symbol CXXI.
Rob Cheney joins me now via Skype. He's the CEO of C21 Investments, and he's in Portland, Oregon today. The company trades on the CSE under the symbol CXXI. Rob, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back. I really enjoyed the first session with Ben and Ed, and it's very kind of you to have me back.
Yeah, well, we're always happy to have a company back that performed so well since our last conversation. Rob, you put out a press release suggesting that the stock was moving for no effort on your part, but the company has a very tight share structure and is really making some solid moves and putting out a good flow of news. And you seem to be focused as a U.S.-based multi-state operator that is vertically integrated, but you've also got some international moves. So start with an overview of what is the company's sort of philosophy and ambition in this space.
Well, we are focused very much on our U.S. operations. We are a consumer packaged goods company in the cannabis sector. We're vertically integrated. We have an exceptionally strong management team in each vertical, so 200 plus years of cannabis cultivation experience, an amazing extraction team in Oregon and in Nevada. We have great brands led by a branding team with Sky Pinnick out of Microsoft, Randy Torkham, who led brand innovation at Burton Snowboards for 12 years, and John Dempsey, who is a internationally recognized digital brand expert. And then on our board, we have Bruce McDonald from the Royal Bank of Canada, who is a capital markets expert. So we have professional expertise. We're building a company as a business. And as you mentioned, we certainly have the tightest cap table of any company in the space. We have 62 million shares out. Over half of those shares, over 30 million of those shares, are held by myself and our long-term investor business partners. I think since February 19th, and I'm sure your show was part of this, we've traded over 12 million shares at prices over $1.55. So we're certainly creating a new level of investor interest. Everything we do is focused on creating value for our shareholders, for our investors on a long-term basis. So we don't try to titillate the Twitter universe or the social media universe with news releases that we can't deliver on. Everything C21 enters into, every transaction we enter into, needs to be accretive to shareholders, create value, create scale, and be something that we can execute on.
Right. That's quite a lineup of human capital you've got there. I mean, I recognized all of those names. So then you're basically growing through a process of acquisition?
That's right. So we are continuing to look at opportunities to expand our very, very profitable platform in Nevada. Investors who follow us will know that our Sparks dispensary has been the #1 dispensary in the state since cannabis was legalized in the state of Nevada. Our 12-month trailing revenue on that single dispensary is 32.5 million Canadian dollars, 21 cash registers. Investors who follow the stock will also know that we've now opened a second dispensary in Fernley. Same management team, same discipline, the same look and feel, the same amazing customer selection and amazing prices. So certainly our revenues are going to ramp significantly in 2019. In Oregon, we have assembled a great team of professionals, brands, and companies. We're also looking at acquisitions in medical states like New Jersey and New York, on the East Coast, Arizona. But our #1 focus in the near term is California, and we also continue to maintain a strong focus on expanding our platform in Nevada.
I have to think that competing to acquire strong producing assets in the cannabis space in those states has got to be very competitive at this point. Do you find that that is the case, that you're competing for the same assets with other large, well-capitalized multi-state operators? And if so, how do you get around that?
Every business I've ever been in is competitive, and if you want to do well, you have to have a strategy and a management team that can execute. The key to our success is really building a relationship with the companies that we want to acquire. The companies that we acquire are people who want to build a business together with us. They're not actually typically selling their business. They're actually joining into a partnership with us where they get equity in a much larger company that has larger scale and an ability to compete at a higher level. So all of our business partners, if you look at Swell and Phantom, those individuals took shares at $3 a share, which is a significant premium to where the stock is today. They're long-term partners. Sonny Newman, my partner in Nevada, is a long-term builder of this company. So we're not fast buck artists. We're not stock promoters. As I've mentioned many times before, I don't have a single 1-cent share. I don't have a single 2-cent share. I paid $1 for my shares. All of my business partners and co-investors paid $1 for their shares. So we're building a business. That narrative resonates with some companies, not with everyone, and we don't try to make every acquisition. We try to make strategic acquisitions that are accretive in value, and with people who are like-minded and who want to build a business.
Sure. Well, that's a solid message, and I mean the people you have on your board of directors certainly sort of lend credence to the idea that you're really building a premium operation. Where are your biggest challenges that threaten the progress of this growth?
Well, anyone who wants to be in cannabis, you need to be nimble, you need to be adept. As you saw with the AFRIA short report, you're never going to wake up and know what tomorrow's like because the world can change very quickly. And so it's not an industry for the meek or the mild. I'm a pretty mature guy. I've built businesses in many sectors, so I think I have a lot of common sense that I've developed over the years. I've surrounded myself with a team of professionals who likewise have a lot of great business expertise. And together we're very confident we can meet the challenges of this dynamic sector. But it is, it's not a business for, for somebody who isn't up for some challenges.
Sure. I'm curious as to your total marketplace. What sort of is the size of the footprint of your customer base?
So in Nevada currently, we are in the process of launching wholesale products and brands, which will launch in May. And that will extend our reach. Currently in Nevada, we touch about 50,000 customers a month. On a consistent basis, and we are certainly one of the leading cultivators, processors, and retailers in the state. In Oregon, our products are in a wide variety of dispensaries, and we touch over 100,000 customers a month, and that's expanding rapidly. We are in the process of taking shelf space and customers away from our leading competitors. And we believe that we're well positioned with Hood Oil, Swell, Dab Society, Quill, and Phantom to become, if not the dominant player, one of the two dominant players in the state of Oregon, which is a very, very vibrant cannabis market. We're just opening our second processing facility in Bend. Since your brother lives in Portland, you'll know Bend. Yep. That gives us capacity this month for a further 100,000 cartridges. It's a CO2 facility. So we're scaling up rapidly in Oregon, and as I've said, our next target is California. We want to be in 8 states, as quickly as possible.
Sure. And in terms of California, how far down the road are you? Do you have an active discussion underway with anybody, or are you still sort of evaluating the landscape and looking for targets?
We've been, I've been at this hard for 2 years. My neighbors think I've moved out of my apartment because I haven't been home. So we have been in a review of California for some time. We have experienced professionals in this company, and many of them have been in the industry in California. They have connections in California, so we're not starting from zero. We are in active discussions with several parties. I have hired an M&A expert trained at Morgan Stanley for 7 years, Dave Goad, who is working with my CFO. We don't rush into things. As I've said, we don't do deals to create drone footage to, excite the social media space. We look carefully, we kick the tires, we learn about the people who've run these businesses. We make sure that they've been doing everything legally and compliant, and we make sure that how we price the transaction is going to be accretive to my existing shareholders, because I'm old enough to know that I'm not going to blow my brains out. We may make a few mistakes, we may make a few missteps, because this is an industry that's very dynamic and moving fast, but we're not going to be stupid. But we're working hard, and certainly I think news is coming on the Nevada front in terms of expansion, and I believe news is coming in terms of California. So everyone can stay.
Great, Rob. Well, we're going to stick close to this story. That's a great update. We'll come back to you as soon as we see the next press release. Keep on keeping on. We love it, and good luck with everything. Thanks for joining me.
Well, I appreciate you having me on, and I'd love for your viewers to take a serious look at C21. We're serious people building a great business with great brands.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Rob. If you're enjoying the show, subscribe to Midas Letter on YouTube so you stay up to date on everything investment. Come on. Jesus, how about that?
What a company.
C21 comes out of left field, stacks the board of directors.
You know what I just realized too?
What?
C, what's 21 in Roman numerals? XXI.
Oh! Magic, Ed, magic. In the chat room, I was just noticing somebody made a comment that doesn't it cost $250,000 a month to be a Midas Letter client? And that's an interesting statement because some clients pay a lot more than that, and some clients pay a fraction of that. We have a program for everybody. But we also always disclose when we're talking to one of our clients. So C21 is not a client. Yeah, well, good point. Who wouldn't want to be a client?
Well,
I mean, look at the stock when people come on the show. Come on, people.
Look at, there's so many shares in this thing, 60 million.
People do. Call on your brother.
So the value of the stock from the time we interviewed him last time to now is up 50 million bucks.
Are you blowing our own horn, Ed?
Honk.
Honk, honk. Hey, I saw some geese flying north the other day.
North?
North.
Or south?
North. They were flying from the south to the north.
They're getting the hell out of town because another cold wave's coming.
No, they were heading north because in 2 weeks it's going to be spring. Ooh. This is in the Globe and Mail.
So on March 21st, the day is equal to the night. And it happens another time of the year too.
Oh, you aren't telling me about the equinox, are you?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Now, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
What does that mean to the price of beans in China?
Nothing.
Nothing. Meaningless.
Nothing, honey.
Not in honey. In the cannabis world, Ed, there are several countries who have not yet joined the fray, as it were, in the rush to legalize cannabis for medical purposes.
Right.
One of those countries is actually Côte d'Ivoire in Africa.
You
thought I was going somewhere else with that,
where
didn't you?
Côte d'Ivoire, interestingly you say, that guy, that's where his property is. Côte d'Ivoire? Yeah, Ivory Coast.
Ivory Coast.
Ivory Coast.
Ivory Coast with the most.
Côte d'Ivoire.
And what was, that was Marc-Antoine Audet with Sama Resources. Yeah, really. And I see that.
Yeah, you see that?
Yeah. I wanted to talk a bit about the action in...
I always thought Ivory Coast was a bit of a place you didn't want to just, walk around without knowing where you were. Like... isn't there a big history there, or maybe in the past, of blood diamonds and things like that?
Well, TIA. This is Africa.
Yeah. TIA?
TIA. It's a crazy place, man.
Okay. All right.
It's just crazy. I wanted to look at the action in... oops, no, not there. Nope, not there. This is the chart of C21 Investments, Ed, and this last candle is looking really large.
Yeah, that would be a little bit of a straight, no comment on management. These guys know what they're doing. Stock's undervalued, but that kind of candle, it could continue a trend, or it could also mean that you're getting close to some profit taking. That's an exceptional move after an exceptional move, right?
Yeah.
Moves don't come after exceptional moves. Usually good moves come after corrections.
Yeah, well, look at the relative strength is up over 70, and it traded outside of the Bollinger Band today. And what does that mean, Ed? Every single time, without fail.
It'll come back in.
It's coming back in. Well,
let me just put it up here. I want to just look at my system.
You want to look at your chart. You don't like my charts.
You know what? I don't. Yeah,
I don't understand them. They're too colorful.
They're too primitive for me.
They're too primitive. Boy, look at that. How's that for primitive, Ed? There's the trend. Ba-boom.
Yeah, look at this. Right at the highs, 193. This looks like in the last 3 months, today's volume is the second biggest volume. Wow. Yeah, look. At the end of the day, you find a good company that looks to be cheap relative. It doesn't matter what the rest of the market's doing. It's going to move.
Yeah. We want to talk about another one that made a big move here last few trading sessions. Ventura Cannabis. And again, full disclosure, I do own this stock.
Yeah.
I bought a couple of million shares at 6 cents. They rolled it back 7.3-ish to 1.
So that means your 6 cent stock becomes like 45 cents.
Yeah, but the stock has doubled in value since then.
Oh, you had to just mention that, eh? You trying to make me feel bad?
Well, no, I'm just pointing out that
you know, money, a lot of money.
No, is that we brought this to the audience's attention when I was buying it, and if you didn't buy it, you missed the boat. But I wanted to point out that these guys are real guys. We were on a conference call last week with the CEO and the Chief Operating Officer, and this is early days for Ventura Cannabis. They're going.
Okay, I've got the 6-month chart up.
Ventura.
Yes.
Okay, let's take a look at that.
Whoa!
Look at that.
Whoa!
Way outside of the B bands.
What you need to know here, what you need to know is I'm going to put up a 1-year chart now because I think I'm onto something here significant. Significant. Yeah. Okay. So look at this. See if you can guess what I'm going to say. See this base?
Yeah.
The longer the base, the greater the potential race.
Really? What does that mean?
When you get a long base, the longer it bases, and then it breaks out, as we saw here, and the volume, if you noticed, is picking up.
Yeah.
Relative to, say, the volume there.
Yeah.
That's a breakout. And now, in breakouts, you should only just have to worry about buying the dips. Sell good strength and buy dips and stay with it. And it looks like, look at this. 97 cents, amigo.
Yeah.
How much of that stock that you bought for you is for me? Just wondering.
Half.
Okay. I'll take 10%.
Actually,
look at this thing. Look at this.
This was brought to me by a young capital markets gunslinger by the name of Cole Stevens, who's joining the Midas Letter team on April 1st.
Is there any significance about April Fool's Day there?
Well, we haven't come up with anything yet. But I'm sure it will be a day full of prankety pranks.
And he'll say he'll be here on April 1st, he said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Team's growing. Going to be a bigger team.
Okay,
He might have to be April 2nd. Is that what you're saying, Ed? Because the first.
To be on the safe side.
Now, what happened to Chiron? Chiron's kind of shit in the bed here a little bit.
Well,
it broke $4, and now it's back down to almost $3. I guess that's a lot of profit taking. I think that you're going to see a little bit of consolidation at the $3 level before it makes another move to the upside. There's a lot of big things happening for Chiron.
There's big things happening, but I did take it upon myself. I wanted to see, where they were in relation to like fundamentals. And I'm a technical guy. And I looked up their last report, and their last report, if I'm not mistaken, and I hope I'm wrong, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought it said there was no revenue in the company. Okay, at this stage, this was a few months ago.
Yes.
And so when the market cap gets up to 400 million,
yes,
which is not a small sum, it's a big number. Maybe it got a little ahead of itself. So that's all I'm trying to say is, I'm not surprised to see it pull back from 430 to 330.
Right.
Like if it just went to 330 and stay there, you'd say, wow, what a winner. Yeah. But once it gets to that number, a crazy number, or in this, like I always say it's crazy now because it hit it.
Yeah.
And then it's pulled back. But if it never got there in the first place, you'd say, stellar performer.
Yeah.
So it's just the psychology of where was it that's come into question here. That's all.
Right. What do you think of Organogram at $9?
Wow.
Yeah. We called that as the next unicorn in the space.
That's OG, right?
OGI.
OGI on the venture?
On the venture.
Okay, $9.10. Well, This one looks, now here's another one that looks higher. Like, and I say it because we got a 2-year chart here. I'll put up a 1-year chart right now. And we've taken out, oh, see, you're busy doing something there, distracting me.
Don't pay any attention to me yet.
Look at this. I think I might have said this, I wouldn't be sure, but this now looks to be convincingly breaking out of a previous high area.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at this. There's a definite, you know, channel trend there that this thing is hugging. It looks very powerful. Looks very powerful.
In honor of the PDAC, we're going to take a moment to acknowledge the diamond industry. Bruce Counts, the CEO of Lithoquest, is going to join me in a second, but here's a little taste of what's to come.
Okay.
Lithoquest Diamonds Inc. is a Canadian diamond exploration company focused on the business of acquiring, evaluating, and developing mineral properties. The company is primarily engaged in the discovery and development of economic diamond deposits on its North Kimberley Diamond Project located in Western Australia. Lithoquest Diamonds is listed on the TSX Venture and trades under the ticker symbol LDI.
My guest today is Bruce Counts. He's the CEO of Lithoquest Diamonds Inc., trading on the TSX Venture under the symbol LDI. Bruce, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Bruce, as the name suggests, you're in the diamond exploration business. Give us an overview of your projects and status.
So the company is relatively new. We started trading on the Venture Exchange at the end of November 2017 and was really predicated on some very strong evidence that there was a new field of diamond-bearing kimberlites on a project in northwestern Australia. So it's quite remote. It's in the very north part of Western Australia, but we have great access to the property through a road, and then we're also on tidewater. But the real reason for capturing the project was based on some rocks that were collected in 2007 by a colleague of mine that had kimberlite indicator minerals that with chemical compositions that suggested that diamonds should be present in the kimberlites in that field. So that was the impetus for creating the company and capturing the project and moving it forward.
Mm-hmm. And is Australia historically a diamond producer?
It is. One of the world's largest producers, called Argyle Diamond Mine, which at one point was producing 40% of the world's diamonds by volume, is located in Western Australia, about 300 kilometers from our project.
Oh, well, that's promising.
It is.
And so is the diamondiferous kimberlites that you're exploring in the same geological setting as Argyle Mine?
No, it's a bit different. Argyle is actually a lamproite, which is a related rock to kimberlite. So kimberlite is the primary source for diamond, and it's just a rare type of volcano. Lamproites are related rock, but they tend to occur on cratonic margins. So cratons are the oldest part of the Earth's crust, and they all occur on margins, whereas we're in the middle of the craton, so we're expecting a more bona fide kimberlite as opposed to a lamproite.
Okay, and so what kind of diamonds have you discovered so far?
Well, the diamonds that we found so far, we found some in a rock sample that we found on surface, as well as some in stream sediment samples. And certainly that's very encouraging in terms of believing that they're diamonds. In this part of Australia, there's been no glaciation. So, you know, the only thing moving things around here are wind and water. We're also up on a plateau, which is above the surrounding plain by sort of 5 to 30 meters, which means, you know, if you've got diamonds up on that plateau, the thinking is there's got to be a local source. And we're not the only first to find diamonds up there. The place has been explored periodically off and on for the last 40 years, and other companies have found diamonds, including a 1.7 carat stone up on that plateau. So there's lots of evidence that there's a kimberlite around there, just nobody had found any. The occurrence of finding boulders up there, and now we've established we've got 4 locations where we found boulders with kimberlite indicated minerals, and we also found the diamonds. That's pretty strong evidence that there's a field of kimberlites. In 2018, which was our first field program as a publicly traded company, we drilled our first kimberlite. It's actually the first kimberlite drilled in Australia in 25 years. And while it didn't have any diamonds in it, it does confirm that there's a field of kimberlites there. So what's important to know about diamond-bearing kimberlites or kimberlite fields is that kimberlites, first of all, occur in fields. So, and a field can be anywhere from a few kimberlites to more than 100. In a productive field, in general, less than 10% are economic. So you'll have, a field of 100 kimberlites, and less than 10 will be economic. So it's not unusual to find barren kimberlites within a field as well. So for us to have found a kimberlite in the first drill program is a great win for us. No diamonds, but that's not that surprising, given that there are diamonds all over the property, and the indicator minerals we've been finding in boulders, which are widely spaced on the property, suggest that there are diamond-bearing sources there, is great encouragement for us to keep moving.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so is this a case of you're going to have to, drill a grid to find where to zero in on which ones might be diamondiferous economic kimberlites, or do you more establish drill targets through another means?
Yeah, it's a little bit more strategic or surgical than that. We've identified 9 areas on the property where we either have boulders with kimberlite indicator minerals in it, diamonds, or kimberlite indicator, high quantities or concentrations of indicator minerals in the soil that suggest that there's a kimberlite very close to that area. So we'll go in with ground geophysics, primarily magnetics and gravity, to establish targets, and then bring a drill in later on in the season and drill test those targets. The idea being you want to test sort of 15 to 20 targets with the hopes of having a 25 or 30% success rate of hits.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. How much have you put into the exploration program in terms of money at this point? How much do you have left, and how much are you going to need to get to the next level?
So we raised $5 million on the Go Public round, which was an RTO. We spent about $2.5 million on exploration, $2.5 to $2.8 million on exploration last year. We still have $1.5 million in the treasury. I expect that we'll spend a little less than we did last year. We've, last year was our first season, so there was a little bit of a learning curve on how to operate efficiently. So I think we'll be a lot more efficient this year, and the program, we're expecting sort of a $2 to $2.2 million program will get us not only the geophysics, but a drilling program that would allow us to test sort of 15 to 20 targets.
And I imagine in that region of Australia, it's a year-round proposition?
No, actually, it's not. There's a wet season that starts at the beginning of December and runs until the end of March. So as an exploration company, we wouldn't operate through that season. You could. It's stormy because you got monsoonal rains, and it's very hot, so 45 degrees with 100% humidity. So you can operate through there through that time, but you just have to be, it's like operating in the high north. You just have to be prepared to operate through those difficult conditions. Our real field season begins in the middle of April and runs until you can effectively operate until the end of October and sometimes into November. It's just about when those rains will start.
I've followed diamond companies for most of my investing career, and the one thing that I've noticed is it takes a long time to prove up an economic diamond find.
Sure.
And I mean, we're talking 30 years here in some cases. In the worst case scenario, we'll call that.
Yeah.
So what do you say to investors when you're raising money? Is the proposition that this is a long-term investment?
Well, obviously, we want people to be thinking a little bit longer game. It's not just a 1 or 2 year program. That said, we discovered a kimberlite in our very first drill program, which is unusual. In Canada, where you've got glaciation and you're generally tracking these kimberlite indicator minerals back to source before you can establish a target and drill, we're in an area where, again, there's no glaciation. So the fact that we're getting boulders and indicator minerals suggests that we're very close to exactly where the sources are. So I would like to think we're not that long. I mean, from my perspective, 3 to 5 years should give us a pretty good window on what we're sitting on here, whether or not we've got diamondiferous kimberlites, and can we find them? Are they big enough to answer all those economic questions?
Well, then the investor appetite for diamond exploration plays, is it robust? Is it tepid?
I would say tepid at best. It's the riskiest end of a risky business. There's no question. But if you can find a diamond mine, they can be exceptionally profitable. A great example is the Acadie diamond mine in Canada. Diamet, which had a 29% stake in that mine, their stock went from 65 cents to $65 in 18 months, and that was through that discovery period. That's really where you get the biggest lift, is when you're finding the kimberlites and also establishing that they've got decent diamond content. It was a $900 million capex in the Arctic, in the Barren Lands, so really rough conditions, but the payback time was 18 months, so it was making $600 million a year in profit even in those conditions. So they can be exceptionally profitable, and that's what excites investors. And if you can convince them that the potential for that kind of discovery exists, then you'll find investors that are willing to participate, and certainly that was the case for us.
What is the condition generally of the gem grade diamond market?
So it's a complicated question because unlike gold, gold's got one price. It's for gold per ounce. In diamonds, there's 1,500 categories of diamond. So in the world of diamonds, what is considered, they're called the smalls, or smaller carats and generally lower quality. Those prices have suffered pretty significantly. They're down 50% in the last few years. But in the larger stone categories, so the 2 carats and the white, really good gem quality, the prices there are very robust. So it just depends on what part of the market you're producing, your stones are filling. If you've got those really nice quality stones, then things are going really well. If you're dealing with the smalls and the lower quality goods, it's been a bit more challenging. Sort of the light at the end of the tunnel for those companies, those miners that are producing those smalls, is that Argyle Diamond Mine, which was producing 40% of the world's diamonds by volume, but only 5% by value, which means they were producing a lot of those smalls. That mine is due to come off production and close down in a couple of years. So that will dry up all that production, and that would then sort of give the companies that are still producing those smaller, lower quality stones a better market and should lift the price. That's, at least in theory, that's what the expectation is.
And so has the ownership of the Argyle Diamond Mine not undertaken exploration to try to prolong the life of the mine?
They certainly, I'm sure they have. This is owned by Rio Tinto.
Okay.
And they've, I think they've done what they can to increase the life of that mine, and I think it's gone already past expectations. And Rio Tinto, because they only have Argyle and a 60% stake in Diavik, which is the second mine in Canada, they've become fairly aggressive in looking for other projects, if you will. So, I'd like to think that our project has the right sort of metrics that would attract a company like De Beers or Rio Tinto, or some of this. 20 years ago, there was only a couple of producers. Now there is a range of producers, including mid-tier producers. So even if you're not hitting the bar for the large projects that would move the needle over Rio Tinto or De Beers, it might become attractive for one of the mid-tier producers. So certainly Rio Tinto is, I think they would be watching with interest what we're doing. We're right in their backyard, if you will.
Right.
But I'm quite certain that other companies are watching with interest as well.
Sure. All right, Bruce, that's a fantastic introduction to the company. We'll leave it there for you and come back to you after more, what we hope will be drilling success.
Thank you very much.
Follow the story. Thanks for joining me today. If you like the show, you'll love our website. Visit us at www.midasletter.com for interviews with key CEOs, cannabis news, and to subscribe to our newsletter. Hey! What do you think? She comes across like diamonds, diamonds, easy in love when the lights are low. She comes into focus, focus,
yeah,
she I'm not the more I know. She, never mind.
I would have never.
Max Webster.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
First blooper of the day. That wasn't a blooper, damn it! Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm a looking. Wait for it. I'm looking at the market movers today on the TSX Venture. Number one market mover is Namaste Technologies, who we haven't really heard from too much lately, down 7 cents on 7.6 million shares. HIT Technologies, if you don't remember this deal, this was a company that made a camera case for iPhones, smartphones, that was supposed to be a competitor for the market that is typically drawn towards the GoPro, hello. It's supposed to turn your camera into, or your phone into an action camera.
Right.
48 North Cannabis up 19 cents today to $1.27 on 6.8 million shares traded.
Is that Allison Gordon?
That's Allison Gordon.
Yeah.
We got to get Allison Gordon back in the mix. Ricky, don't lose that number. Call Allison, get her on the show. We need to find out why her stock is a rock and a roll.
What's the ticker?
NRTH. You don't remember the ticker for that one? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I do.
Man.
It's NRTH.
Not bad. Okay, now let's look at the CSE and see who are the big movers on the CSE.
You
Number
know
one again is Agriflora Organics, AGRA. up 10 cents to 51 cents today. Look at Heritage Cannabis, 52 cents today on 10 million shares. What the hell is going on with this stock? It's just rocking.
Well, you have the guy on it almost every week.
That's true.
You know.
FSD Pharma, 27 cents. 4 million shares traded. Down another penny. What's going on? Global Gaming, Block.U, 3 cents.
I want to put up the chart of Allison's company here, 48 North.
Let's pull up a chart of 48 North and take a look, Ed.
Look at this
steep climb.
Well, yeah, a couple things. Biggest volume by at least a factor of 2 from that one to this one. Okay, so there's some accumulation in here. We saw that.
Yeah.
But look at this move. It broke out of this base area here at around 80 cents. It looks like, and they hit $1.45 today. Look at that. Now I don't like that tail. Sorry, wick. That's a wick.
You don't like that wick? Well, chop it off.
Ooh.
Chop it down.
Ooh,
Ed.
chop off that
wick. Why don't
wick.
you like that wick? What's that wick telling you?
Well, you know, I don't like to see big tails. Well, actually, if I'm going to go long, I'd like to see a big tail.
Okay.
And if I want to sell something, I look for a big wick.
Right.
Because it looks like it met serious selling up there when it was up over $1.40. Sold it down, still over the band, but you know, if I was going to buy this stock, I think I'd wait a bit to see if I could get it, maybe save myself 10, 15 cents. You know? I mean, the cheaper you buy it, the better off you are. I mean, you only buy it for one reason, right?
Oh,
you want it to go up.
You want to sell it at a higher price.
Yeah, so you might as well try and buy it cheap.
You may as well buy low.
Buy low.
It's easier to sell high the lower you buy.
You know what? I got to write this stuff down.
That's just little magic, Ed. Anyways, yeah, the CSE.
Okay.
What am I saying here? Let's take a look at the TSX, see what's going on in the TSX. Come on, baby.
You know, some of these marijuana stocks, like we've pointed out Century.
Yes.
And we pointed out Allison's company here today.
Yes.
They're really catching some bids and doing quite well.
Yes.
So I like to see that in a market, that it's just not a blind market that's everything's moving.
Yeah.
Because you know, there's not every marijuana company, unfortunately, is a great company. And I'm not
true.
You know, there's going to be some
consolidation. There's going to be a culling of the herd.
Yes.
You know what you're starting to see now is you're starting to see a lot of companies, what I call cut and paste companies, that come up and they basically emulate somebody else's business model exactly. Like you're starting to see this in Colombia. All these companies are trying to come up and emulate Chiron. Well, Chiron's way out in front, leaving them in the dust. I'd stay away from the cut and paste companies in Colombia because Chiron's got the lock, if you ask me, in terms of...
It's going to be hard to emulate what Chiron's done.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be nobody, hey, let's do this.
No.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
All right, coming up, Robert Garza. He's the CEO of BLOCKStrain Technologies, and we're going to take a look at his company.
Is he here?
BLOCKStrain Technology Corp is a full-service software company launching a blockchain-based platform to serve the cannabis industry, which registers and tracks intellectual property in the cannabis space. BLOCKStrain technology allows cannabis growers and breeders to identify and secure rights to their intellectual property, and also streamlines the administrative process and reduces the cost of genetic and mandatory quality control testing for legal cannabis. BLOCKStrain Technology Corp is listed on the TSX Venture and trades under the ticker symbol DNAX.
And Robert Galarza, the CEO of BLOCKStrain Technology, is in the house with me right now. Robert, welcome back.
Yeah, thank you for having me again.
You bet. Okay, so give me an update. What's new with BLOCKStrain Technology?
Well, we are heavily pushing a shift into expanding into the U.S. And a lot of this has to do with we did a release recently. We did an LOI with a company called Akiso, which is a water company. Actually, NXT Water is the water company.
Right.
And they're basically their entire product line is basically wanting to create a higher bar for CBD water, right? And CBD is kind of got a bad name, you know, in terms of the kind of quality of content.
Right.
As you know, our entire product suite is built around testing validation, right? And we talk about in the cannabis space up here, really focusing on the genetic framework of products to be able to identify it. But at the end of the day, it really all boils down to quality of product, quality of testing. So what we've looked at doing is, as the Farm Bill passed and the laws are starting to shape themselves in order for us to be able to really work down in that marketplace, really looking to create full dynamic visibility. And it's kind of exciting for us because, you know, really all the back-end B2B stuff from a testing perspective really means is that QR code, that verification seal, and making it dynamic and making it accessible to consumers. So that's really what we've been focusing on, is making that really powerful.
Great. And so your revenue, how's that scaling?
Revenue scaling good. We're bringing on, we're bringing on clients relatively slowly here in Canada. I wouldn't say slowly, but we always want them faster.
Right.
We always want them to move faster. Contracts are out, being reviewed, et cetera. So the revenues are shaping up. The other side of it too is that we're actually learning as the market's evolving, where there's new and unique opportunities to kind of expand on what our initial value proposition was going to be. So, you know, when you start looking at, you know, genetic testing and validation and pushing that data, and then we started looking again, like I said, CBD, but other, you know, companies that want to dynamically publish their testing data, we have the ability to do that. So we're ramping up all the, you know, sales, collateral material, getting our sales guys up and making the phone calls, hitting the doors, and it's been good.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm starting a large-scale outdoor cannabis grow operation in a South American country where I will not need to use supplemental lighting.
Yes.
I want to acquire a cannabis strain that is ultimately suited for this climate, and I want certain features of one strain that is going to be primarily for CBD and another strain that is going to be primarily for THC. Right. Can you help me?
That's what we're built for. You know, as it exists today, the only real choice right now is just picking up the phone and kind of calling around and communicating with people about, you know, what genetics are there. You know, the entire system is built around, as we start to register and aggregate this data over a period of time. So we're able to understand, you know, as I think we talked about last time, the genetics and the epigenetics and how those genetics are changing based upon the environmental factors associated with it. That is all built around the kind of information that we're going to be indexing, which really gives you a cultivator. That's actually kind of the next iteration is we build the strain registry. We built this library, which is, you know, WeedMD and Harvest One are getting their genetics put into. We're looking to hopefully build it in a way where people in the marketplace can then see that verified marketplace and see other breeders. And then obviously the specifics around genetics are going to be proprietary to that grower, but we can make the connection, and then from there, you know, the communication can go about in terms of like actually getting the right kind of strains for your environment.
So are you guys actually actively breeding different genetic combinations yourselves?
No. We're the software. Right. So we live in the kind of the base layer, and you know, and this is kind of one of those things that we know a lot about genetics. I mean, comparative to, you know, probably a lot of other tech companies, but we're not a genetics company per se. So we open ourselves up to partner with any and every type of testing partner out there that's looking to aggregate this data. So whether it be groups down in the US that are doing a lot of genetic library database, and we want to sync up with them as well. It's all trying to make the ecosystem more efficient by taking the data and making it dynamic.
So one of the realities that we're seeing in the cannabis space is that different strain names are being replicated in the marketplace, but the strains themselves have no real relationship to each other. Right. They are wildly different. Yeah. And so we're finding that the ability to understand what you're going to get as the outcome from a plant is becoming more diluted over time, largely due to a lack of a system like yours to track these things. So is your software going to prevent a complete dilution of all of the sort of the genome of the cannabis plants that are in production if it's adopted by substantially all of the industry?
That's what we hope for. I mean, we built this system based upon our background in the California market initially, and really what it was, you know, Blue Dream was, I think, one of the big ones, and Girl Scout Cookie was the other one that came out, and then literally the shelves just flooded themselves with Girl Scout Cookie and Blue Dream, right? So the running joke is none of those exist anymore in those markets. Really, I think at the end of the day, the more we're able to identify this product, right, by both its genotype and its chemical makeup, its chemovars, as well as all of the microbiological, you know, clearing and the clearance on pesticides, et cetera, all of that information, the more we empower that for the producers, the better we can start to make this distinguishing characteristic. And if I can distinguish a strain, you know, and it's a very unique strain, and it's one that you like, and it's a particular purpose. And by the way, it may change over time. So my 2010 may be different than my 2019 or 2025, because as we learn, epigenetics can change things. As we're able to index the information, we then can say, hey, look, this isn't the only Blue Dream that ever existed, but it's just, this is the exact type of the 2019 or 2020 Blue Dream that we made. And then, you know, and then obviously we want to partner with companies that are doing, you know, things like cold storage and all of the facets that go into like revitalizing strains down the line. But you can't really do any of that unless you're really, you know, keeping track of the information behind it.
Right. What you must see some trends in genetics that probably are a lot further ahead in the evolution of this whole industry than a lot of people who don't look so closely at genetics. What are some of the trends that you're seeing that are emerging that sort of indicate you know, the shape of the landscape in the future? Yeah,
I think what we're seeing is we're starting to get this understanding that there's a lot more varietals out there than we maybe originally thought. That the craft market, as it's starting to evolve and enter into the space, and we're seeing, I think in the Canadian market, we're seeing a lot of producers go out and look to acquire large libraries, right? And then of course, then you look at countries like Jamaica and some of the ones in South America that, you know, they all say they have the original, you know, lineage of genetics. So I think everybody's trying to plant their flag in terms of what genetics mean and kind of where they should exist. You know, really, we're not trying to police anything in particular. We're just trying to be a solution that can connect all of the components, right? And so the evolution of genetics and where genomics are going, and being able to better forecast characteristics and all that stuff. I mean, there are people far, you know, more talented and educated in genetics than we are. But the really beautiful part is that we're able to turn all that into, you know, powerful, verified data, and then really lock that data and track that data and manage that data. That's where we can really hopefully build like better science, right? Because, you know, if really at the end of the day, when you start looking at, you know, genetics and genomics matching themselves with the chemical makeups and how those plants, you know, evolve and showcase themselves and the characteristics, we would love to be able to link all that to, you know, those folks that are doing, you know, clinical trials and doing, you know, unique cultivations and unique formulations and stuff. But it's all, you know, information is power, right? So the more information we can aggregate and make it intelligent, I think the better we can be at forecasting what you know, what strains are going to work for what people. You bet. All right, Robert, that's a great update. We're going to leave it there for now. We'll come back to you in due course. Thanks for joining me today. Sounds good. Thanks for having me again. And so we are going to have some interesting people on the show this week. Andrew Grieve is going to be here from Zenabis Global. Jamie Blundell joins us for the first time from the Cannabis Growth Opportunity Corp. And Andrew Muroff from Strain Print Technologies will be back. We're going to talk about guitars and strain print. Michael Byron is here from Nighthawk Gold, and Mario Fonseca is here from Gold Play Exploration as our coverage from the PDAC week continues. Prad Secker will be here from CB2 Insights as well to round out the commentary. And Ed, did you have a good break there?
Yeah, I had a real nice break. Had some cucumber.
Did you have some cucumber?
Yeah.
What did you do with it?
Ate it.
You ate it?
Didn't sit on it.
Well, that's a relief, because that would be the end of that cucumber. That's totally disgusting, and our humor has reached new lows today. Scatology at its finest. Scatologically speaking, that's a shit. So I'm gonna probably, while you're away, I'm gonna bring on an old friend here. Oh yeah. For 10 minutes. A little nepotism, eh? A little bit of a gentleman by the name of Victor Cantori. Oh, is Victor going to be here? Yeah, I think it's important. Yeah, no, it'd be interesting. So we're going to tape it, and then we'll play it later, and then you'll have it for my show when I'm back. When you're back. Well, how about that? When I get back. When you're back. Ed's back.
Ed's back. James back. James back.
Wow.
Could you turn, please?
I want to talk to some of our audience here because we haven't really spent much time with them today, and I imagine that they're going to be a little bit chuffed about that because we usually do. I don't know what is going on with Chrome, but every time I try to open it,
By the way, I want to point out one other thing, because we did have a gentleman on who was a geo,
yes,
and Argo Gold geo, and he was just about to go out to the camp to start drilling.
Oh.
Today it traded almost 200,000 shares. That stock is very, very thin.
Yes.
It traded a couple 100,000 shares. ARQ is the ticker.
Right.
It closed at 31.5 cents, and for 2 years you couldn't get this stock over 20 cents if your life depended on it. And they are drilling, and they've got core on display at PDAC. Somehow I think they're saying that core looks, I'm going to go over there tomorrow and take a look.
Okay.
And I'll report back.
How are you?
Ed's back.
Ed's back. Reporting back. The audience, Jake got claws. How you doing, Jake? Jake wants to know now CEO of Chiron Cola deal? New CEO. Whoa. Thoughts on ex-president being CEO of Coca-Cola Mexico? I see where you're going with that. Yeah, so Vicente Fox no longer has any sort of participation in Coca-Cola, but I'm assuming everybody knew that. But I'll tell you what, if you wanted to, lock up distribution in Mexico, Vicente Fox is a pretty good guy.
You think he might have an inside track there?
Oh, I think he's got a bit of experience doing that. Plus, he's throwing Canamex, the biggest, the first Mexican cannabis conference, and we're going to be down there. That's at the end of April. But lucky participants who are in Toronto will be able to join us at an event where Vicente Fox will be if you send us an email and tell us why you want to, what you would ask Vicente Fox, and if we're going to pick the best question, and you can join us.
Is it Vincente or Vicente?
Vicente.
There's no N there.
No.
Okay, you couldn't call him Vincent then.
No. Nope, not Vince.
You call him Vis.
Vicente Fox.
Vic.
Vic.
Oh, Victor.
Yeah. Okay, so the audience, Sobuj Bangla, is asking us about AIM, A-I-I-M. Pull up that chart, Ed. What's going on there?
It had a pop. I mean, it really did have a pop.
And now what?
And now a flop.
No. Say it isn't so.
Well, I think it's pulled back. Well, 17.5. Okay.
17.5? That's where I bought the damn thing.
Really?
Yeah. Well, see, that's what but you know what? Look,
if you just look at the charts, the thing. I mean, we were watching it at 5, 6, 7, 8. When do I pull the trigger? Oh, right. Contrary to all my rules, I buy it when it's through the bands after a parabolic move.
Only to be educated again by
Educated. Yeah, you know what? If you really like something, wait. If it makes that kind of a move, it'll pull back, and it did. It went down to 16.5 today, or 16 cents.
Yeah.
So, there's the chart. I mean, let's just take a look. Yeah. There's no, now that this sort of up and away trend is sort of busted.
Yeah. The people are asking about Juju here.
Okay.
On the screen. And what have we heard about Juju lately?
I haven't heard very much.
No.
Have you?
No. Nope. I'm
10 cents. Look at this.
Yeah. Just
boy, the time really quiet. Time really moved. Look at this thing. This wasn't that long ago. It was way up there.
Yeah, that was us. That's when we. That's where we were. And let's see. I lost a lot of money on Juju.
I want to get the hook out of my mouth here. Just a minute.
Yeah, I want to get the crowbar out of my ear because it's so funny. So remember, I was saying that all the companies in the mining side are going to be making their stocks look good running up to PDAC, and that the time to sell a mining stock that's done well in the early part of the year is just before PDAC. Did I take my advice and sell my AMX?
No. Well, we talked about it, though. We did talk about it, and you thought it was going higher.
Well, that's because, we got to stop promoting each other, Ed, because I said, Well, I think it's going to $2, and then you told me you think it's going to $5, and that was it. I pulled all my orders to sell.
I still think it could go to $5. I think it can go to $2 to $3. Okay?
Yeah, I think so too.
Because I'm pretty sure.
Carl Bowden says Juju is doo-doo.
I hear they're changing the name of Juju.
Yeah? Really? To doo-doo?
Yeah.
No.
Remember Tutu?
Tutu?
Desmond Tutu?
Ah, Desi.
So Ronald Reagan was at a summit.
Yes.
Where Desmond Tutu was there, and he had a one-on-one meeting.
Yes.
And as he's walking out of the meeting, what reporter said, "How'd the meeting go with Tutu?" And you know what Ronald Reagan said? So-so. True story.
Wow.
That's pretty funny.
Funny.
Yeah. I love that kind of humor.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving right along.
Yeah, okay, so people are asking about some of the other stocks that we were talking about late last year that we haven't mentioned recently. EVE. EVE.
Yeah.
Haven't really, what's going on there?
I don't know that one. That's the one where all the women work there are women, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's another women's cannabis deal. Well, Ed, you know, I'm sorry to say, but
is it that time again?
Our good friend is happy trails to you until we meet again.
Whose show was that?
Howdy Doody.
No, it was
Roy Rogers.
Roy Rogers and Dale Evans.
Roy Rogers and Dale Evans.
And you know the horse name was?
Trigger. How about that? I remember. Anyways, this is our show for today. We're going to be back tomorrow, but I'm not going to be here. Humble Howard Glassman is going to be here from the Humble and Fred Show, co-hosting with Ed Molesky. I'm going to Los Angeles, California to shoot some documentary footage. We'll see you all tomorrow.